And I'm live. How you doing, people? Tonight, it's a sad time, guys. This guy behind me here, Ross, just recently passed away, and I just watched this stream again, and I watched it with my missus this time. The first time I watched it myself, but I watched it with my missus this time, and it's heartbreaking to watch because my missus is a nurse. She could see the signs, and if Ross had just went to the hospital earlier, I mean, it might have prevented his death, guys. You know what I mean? It's a shame. Like I said, my missus is a nurse, and she says she could see the early signs, getting the blood draining for the face, and he should have been away. He stayed on 15 minutes. I mean, 15 minutes from the moment he got the first pains, and he had to get up, and he came back. 15 minutes had gone by. He could have been on his way to hospital. God knows that was 15 minutes on the stream. So it's just sad to think that if we've seen the signs earlier, he could have been saved. You know what I mean? And he's not an old guy, as you can see. It's just disturbing. It always disturbs me when somebody within the YouTube community that I know of dies. It's just, and you watch them every now and again, and sometimes you laugh, and sometimes you can relate to them because I've got kids and stuff like that. So, how you doing, Kenneth, Mackie, and Epic? Glad to see you guys. I'm just in a wee. It's kind of just a wee dedication to Ross here. Like, I done a post about it, but like I said, I'd watched this stream with my missus, and it's heartbreaking to watch. To see him actually get his pains and then leave and then come back again, rather than go to the hospital. Can he come back just to finish his stream? And you could see he was struggling through the last 10 minutes. He's getting 5-10 minutes of his stream. It was a shame. So, I'll be like I said, I'll let you see a wee bit of it, but you could see the signs, and he should have.
L'hôtel. You drop the vowel on the learn. Same here. That A would get dropped. So it's Ra, Mer, Se. He's the power of this place. He keeps the order, and he's the untroubled ruler, or the secured ruler on some of the other versions we saw. All right, here's another cheat. Here we go. Here it is. Here's a real live example, okay? And this should have made him think. He's thinking, hang on a second, we've got Ramesses again, look. Ra will ignore that, will pretend it's not there. No one can see that. Remember the British Museum? Don't even try it. Pretend it's not there, yeah?
See the heavy breathing there, the big deep breaths.
We just pretend that's an L instead. It's not. Ramesses. Like here you've got an example. We've got the Se and the Se.
I think he's showing like hieroglyphs.
They might have suddenly thought to themselves, well, hang on a second, I think we've got two different S's. But that's indeed what they are. So this one, they've gone for secure and certain forever. You know, it's like long-term, secure and certain. But then what's this? You can't just ignore these things. You can't just pick up the bit you recognise and ignore the rest. So let's have a look. First of all, we've got the fasting bolts, true and certain and established, all right? All makes perfect sense. I'll show you what the convention.
You see, he's struggling there to like breathe.
Hold on, yes. So talk about this bit up here now, okay? So there's the lineage, same symbol again. Chiroglyphics is none of that nonsense with denominators and means one thing one place, something else somewhere else. No, it always means the same thing wherever you see it, okay? So you don't got to worry about that. Oh, sorry, it's only for very comfortable. Oh, my back. I'm okay, mate. I don't know what's happened. I don't know. Sorry, folks, just going to stand a second. Oh. I don't know. I feel very well. Hang on, I have to pause a second and come back to it. You stop the broadcast. Wait. Stop. Go Go to Google and say,
What? Bist du schon?
How sad's that? Unbelievable, man. It's like, and I think 10 minutes go by or something, and he comes back and 5 minutes go by there, I think. Like, and then I think he comes back and does another 10 minutes, and it's like 15 minutes for the moment that he had the first pains. And maybe there was already an ambulance on the way, and nothing could have been done. But I just feel like these things can be prevented. There was a big campaign in Scotland. Oh shit! There was a big campaign in Scotland called Fast. It was like recognising the signs of like a heart attack, and if you could act soon enough, and you can save people. Even just get an aspirin in their mouth. So my missus said, again, if you can just get an aspirin in their mouth and it can thin their blood, can help the heart. Oh, it's just sad. Sad. He done British hidden his channel. I'll leave a link to his channel. In fact, I'm going to buy him probably one of his books just as a sort of thing for his family or something. So I'll leave a link to his channel, guys, and he done books and all that stuff. So I'm going to buy one of his books. I'm telling you guys to buy one of his books, but I'm going to do it just as a token of, just as a gesture, I suppose. I'll leave a link in the channel. But he done, again, if you're interested in the hidden histories of Britain, this guy was fucking on it. But he was more Welsh based. So look at his history. But the thing is, when you look at British hidden history, a lot of it is in Wales. It is in Scotland and Ireland. It's in the last sort of corners of Britain because that's where it got pushed. So you find people like Ross and me and people that are Welsh and Scottish finding things, clues, even in their own areas. And he was really on the Welsh thing, and I'm not on the Scottish thing either. I'm on maybe Irish, Scotland, or Wales. I think Christianity could have started in either of these countries in Britain. But you can see here, he's had it paused for a few minutes now, maybe 5 minutes. But he does come back. It's a shame the guy dies no long after the stream. This was only a couple of days ago. Oh, but the thing is, I remember watching one of his videos a couple of weeks ago, or maybe a week ago, and I remember hearing his breathing. He had really laboured breathing in between words, and I thought he doesn't sound too good. I'm not sure what kind of health conditions he had or previously, but you could hear it in his voice. He was getting worse. His breathing. How you doing, Susie? I remember his channel. Condolences to us. That's what's even worse, that you see his son and his wife and everything that's sitting there. He's having a heart attack on a live stream. The guy is having a heart attack on a live stream, and he doesn't even know it. He doesn't even know it. He thinks it's a back pain. Ross thinks it's some kind of back pain, and he's telling his wife and all that, just it's okay, and just ignore it. These are the signs of a heart attack. And my missus, I sat and watched this with my missus, and my missus was breaking her heart because she knew, like, if she was there, there's a good chance he could have survived. Because she sees it a lot with certain people, like the blood draining for the face and the way they speak. And sometimes, and my missus says, like, indigestion can be more painful than a heart attack. So a lot of people that are having heart attacks don't really know they're having a heart attack. Just like Ross here. He didn't realise that he was actually having a heart attack. And he spent 15 minutes on this stream. God. It's just sad. It's sad. It's sad. And I've kind of been thinking about the past couple of days. These things seem to stick with me for some reason. Because for some reason, these YouTube people, the stuff I learn for them, it's more valuable than a lot of shit I learn for people day to day in my life. You know what I mean? So I value them. When they're gone, it's like, and I was never in his chat, or I never really tried to cross my channel with Ross's. There was a few people that sent me emails and says, "Hey, Ken Jed, you should get together with Ross and do this thing and do it." But I'm a completely different channel. For one thing, I'm not family friendly. This guy was very family friendly. His chat was clean. He never had any swearing, or again, everybody was very nice and very family friendly. Like me, like I can be family friendly if I wanted to be, but now and again, you know what I mean? I like to have my rants and be not so like family friendly. So, and Ross was very controlled. He never had his rants like I do. But you can see here he's still. This is still running, this live stream. How many of us suffer because of NHS protecting themselves? So sad. It is so sad. It's sad. And the guy couldn't have been that old. You know what I mean? He couldn't have been that old. He looks about, what, 50s? Early 50s, maybe? Mid 50s? Natural herbs. Oh, that's what me and my missus were talking about. I watched a program about mistletoe, how it's meant to be a parasite and toxic and things like that. And it's not as toxic as you think. And in fact, mistletoe has got a chemical in it that can fight cancer. There's a chemical in mistletoe that can fight cancer. When cancer reproduces, there's a chemical in the mistletoe that stops that reproduction. It just nails it dead. So I wonder if they just tell us certain things are toxic in nature just to keep us from curing ourselves, because it's within the pharmaceuticals companies' interests to tell you these fucking plants are toxic so they can give you their medicines. Obviously, if they're going to lose out in billions every year, of course they're going to tell you these plants are toxic. These herbs, there's probably cures out there that we don't go near. Just like the Amanita muscaria, like mushroom that I've been eating recently, and no psychedelic effects, no toxic effects. I've been fine. So you start to wonder, is it more of a cure for something? And they're just trying to keep people away from it with scare stories. Mercury. Nah, I think the Chinese believed mercury was a. But mind you, maybe, like I said, you just hear stories about the Chinese, but I think there was a Chinese ruler, one of these emperors, and he practically drank this stuff. He ate mercury balls and stuff. And I think he was buried, when he was buried with his terracotta soldiers, I'm sure he was surrounded by mercury as well, because they seen it as like a sort of magical substance. Like you can see, Ross is still no back for this stream. Obviously, he's still a stupid choice of words, but the stream's still running. So right now, God knows what he's doing. He should be getting an ambulance. He should be on his way to hospital right now, Ross. But he's probably stubborn and he just wants to finish his stream. How you doing, Cleveland Motor? Lead. That was poisonous, because we did use lead. We had lead pipes, water pipes for years, and we learned that we were poisoning ourselves with lead pipes. And then.
Hello everyone, sorry about that scare. I didn't mean to scare everybody. Oh. No. Still running. See if I appear back on the screen again. Oh, what else? I played golf yesterday. Could be a muscle strain, I think.
The guy thought it was a muscle strain.
I felt like it's internal.
It was internal, fuck's sake.
Oh, take my jump off, so I'll be a bit warm. I'm going to pull the muscle. Right, I'll cut to the chase a bit, like a little bit shorter, because it's running on a bit anyway. That gave me a bit of a shock. Sorry, everyone, didn't scare anyone then. Right, so we've got this little bit here, which is one of the titles. You see this combination a lot, and we can read it, so you know why it's there. I'll show you. Here it is. For a start, going to cut the point, you got the cloak and you got the certainty. This is forever and certain. And then we have this thing there. This is the lineage to keep vigorously. So
look how bad he looks. The blood's drained from his face.
Just a quick one here. How do we get the name Ptah? This will shock you. This is the symbol as commonly called Ptah, right? Now we know we come with glyphics. supreme when you are, porti. And this is their, well, I think it's sickrise, and it's their vigorous again. All they have in the conventional is PT and H. Because remember, there's no vowels in the conventional one. I know Alexandros is full and Cleopatra's got 4 or 5 or this kind of thing. So they have a problem. How do you pronounce PTH? This is going to shock you. Everyone thinks Patar is like a proper name. It's well known, ancient. Not at all. This is a quote from Budge, who was the #1 guy at the British Museum up until the 1930s. And there's longer full quotes in the book. It says, now it's impossible to pronounce this name. How do you say PTH? Without adding one vowel at least, but there's nothing in Egyptian to show what that vowel must be or where it is to be placed. So what do you think they did? They made it up. So in the case of the Greek supply of a vowel suggests Egyptians pronounce it something like Patar. It's completely guessed, invented. Whereas the hieroglyphics, we got portis. And it continues. In many translations of Egyptian words, I've added the letter E to sticks it in. Not because I think it represents the vowel the Egyptians used in those places, but merely to make the words pronounceable and therefore easy to remember. They just make up the vowels. It's the con, the whole thing. So you have it in Welsh then, supreme when you are vigorous and brisk, or you are the vigorous supreme one. You're not allowed for the Welsh syntax. So how do we get to this madness? I'm going to fly to this now. This is the real history translation. The one I mentioned earlier, Athenaeus Kircher. He decided he's going to resurrect Coptic. He was this sort of spy master type that people all around the world bring back information for him, an amazing mind. And he was the mass publisher of his day, mass propagandist for the church, really. So he revived it. I looked through, it's all in the book here, so I don't have to run through this. He spotted the cartouches.
Oh, shit.
Banks is wonderful. We'll read about Banks. You can read the letters going back and forth. It's all in the book. He's supposed to have done the Demotic alphabet, except that failed. I'm going to get back to a little bit more, though. The man who cracked the hieroglyphics code is Thomas Young. Hang on. Rossellini. Hang on, there's more to come. Samuel Birch. I was going to read lots of stuff out of the book. You have to excuse me, I'm really not feeling too good. Oh, I think it's a muscle strain, though, don't worry. And here's Wallace Budge. Made the massive dictionaries. And I come back to this, and this is one thing you'll find. And the exact meaning of many words is unknown. This is in the front of the dictionary, okay? So it's still the standard word that's used. And can only be guessed at by the context. In some cases, the context makes the meaning of an unknown word hard to be certain. In others, especially where no probably Coptic or probable that should be Coptic equivalent is forthcoming, it does not. And then any meaning suggests there's little else than the result of guesswork. And that's how it works, folks. In many cases, then, the English words that are set down as translations in the dictionaries of rare and difficult Egyptian words must only be regarded as suggestions as the probable meanings. And I'll do a separate video look at this comparison. You can see there. So it's a T in Cleopatra, and it's a D in Alexandros. And you see lots of mistakes which don't work and don't fit. You'll see this DR goes together there, and it goes together there. Well done, Wilson and Blackett. I'm awfully sorry, I have to call it the day. I hate doing this. My favourite subject in many ways, and I was really looking forward to it, and I'll come back to it, okay? You have to excuse me, I have to stop it. Oh my goodness, I think I must have pulled a muscle yesterday. It's okay, Andrew, just pulled a muscle, all right? It's okay. It's okay, Andrew's panicking. All right, thank you. Yeah, and let's just show you just quickly back onto the British Museum.
He should have been on his way to hospital. The guy was having a heart attack.
All right, I'll leave the comments on for 4 minutes so we can say goodbye to each other, and I do apologise.
He's saying sorry.
I'm okay, it's all right. Not trying to worry everyone. All right, till next time. Heavy.
Oh, it's heartbreaking, like. V. Thomas, Ross Broadstock for British Hidden History, he died shortly after that stream. He actually had a heart attack. He didn't know he was having a heart attack, but that was a heart attack he had on the stream. You can hear he's still in, like, agony. Fucking horrible. So I'm just making a wee video, and it's a bit of awareness as well. It's you You need to be aware, Ken. Someone's having a heart attack, Ken, or you're having a heart attack. Ken. He probably thought he was having heartburn. He thought he had a muscle strain. He was having a heart attack, and now he's dead. He wasted 15 minutes on this stream for the first moment he got his pain to him ending it there. That was 15 minutes. He could have been away in a car up to the hospital. Oh, it's heartbreaking. He died. He died shortly after that stream. It was Ross Broadstock from British Hidden History. I'll leave a link in the... But like I said, guys, it's kind of bothered me, and it's sort of... I don't know. Damn, that's a big TV. I got that off the father-in-law. Father-in-law's got a thing about getting new TVs, and every time he gets a new TV, he passes down his old one to certain members of the family, and luckily enough, it was our turn to get that. So big Sony, big 4K Sony Bravia. I think it's 50 inch. It's sad. It's sad. And like I said, I'm going to buy a wee book. He done the same sort of history as me. But like I said, I approach it differently. I present it differently. And I'm not as hardcore as he is. He dedicated his whole channel to that subject, whereas my channel's kind of got a bit of everything. I like to have debates with people, and I like to make different videos about different stuff. I like to have a laugh, and I like to be sometimes a bit antagonistic, should we say, which Ross wasn't. He wasn't that type of person. He just wanted a family-friendly show, and he was like he sold a lot of books. You know what I mean? He was kind of like a book salesman. That's one of my sort of critiques about him, that he went on too much about books. I see a message on his homepage. Very sad indeed. Let's have a look at his homepage. I'll go on my iPad. The old faithful iPad. Screen up. It's brutal, horrible. And the thing is, it was a nice guy as well. You could just tell, like, with his family, the way he interacted with his sons, and you could just tell he was a family guy. He kind of seemed like a genuinely nice guy, Ross Broadstock. But his channel was called Britain's Hidden History, BHH, Britain's Hidden History. And like I said, he had a lot of the same theories as me, read the same books as me. I just never got involved with his community because they were more of a family-friendly sort of community, where I'm a bit more, I wouldn't say edgier, but I didn't control myself as much as Ross was more self-controlled, self-disciplined, where I'll sometimes just have a stream just to annoy people. Where's his... I might not be able to look at his homepage, in fact, on my iPad, because it's all different. YouTube's different on your iPads. You didn't get to see community pages and stuff on iPads. So many of these heart attacks are avoidable, but many of us indulge and don't eat properly, many of us know we should. I've had I remember lying in my bed one time, and it was a couple of years ago, and getting a wee flutter. When you get a wee flutter, it's like your heart just does a double beat, and then it stops, and beat. It's like, I mind getting a lot of fright back then. I think that's when I stopped. Well, cut down my smoking anyway. He's dead. Ross Broadstock's dead. He died with a heart attack just the other day there. And like I said, I'm going to buy one of his books, man, just as a sort of gesture, like I said. And I'll probably use I'll use some of his work as well from my research. I'll reference Ross when I'm doing stuff that maybe ties in with my stuff, because I know that like I said, I didn't watch lots of stuff of Ross. I watched some of his stuff. I think it was at Sue. Somebody recommended Ross to me because Ross. I think Ross had even mentioned. I don't know. I don't know how I came across Ross, but I think he was recommended to me through an email. I checked out his channel. It was about a year ago. About a year ago, I looked at his channel. And he was promoting a lot of books. He was selling a lot of books, so that kind of put me off a little bit because it's already bad enough with adverts and these bloody YouTube and all. It's like people selling stuff. That just doesn't sit right with me when you're trying to pass off information and sell. But okay, that's some people have to make a living. Like I said, I think Ross dedicated his life to this stuff and was making a living from it. So fair enough if he wants to sell books. Being aware of solar flares, they affect us all. People these days know about oil-free, plant-based, etc., but only around 1 in 500 are prepared to do it. Heart attacks are very common. Mowing the lawn or washing the car claims most lives through heart attacks. I remember speaking, it's funny you say that, Susie Cat, about being aware of solar flares. What was the guy's name? I had one of my first live streams ever, guys. The first time I ever had a podcast or ever spoke to anybody on the internet, like having an interview sort of style, was a guy called Rick Solaris. And I don't know where he is nowadays, Rick. Don't know if you watch my channel or where are you, man, but Rick Solaris. And he had a Facebook page. I think he had a Facebook page. But he was making a correlation between heart attacks and sun activity. Like when the sun was active, when the sun was throwing out flares and stuff, it had an effect on our atmosphere and it had an effect on people's health. And he reckoned that people's health, like people that had weak hearts, would have heart attacks again during solar flares and stuff. I don't know how much evidence there is to support that, but it was just interesting that Susie mentioned that. People these days know about oil-free, plant-based, etc., but only around 1 in 500 prepared to do it. To hell with plant-based. Well, okay, but to hell with it, and your risks go way up. It's a real thing, Jed. It might be a real thing. I'm not sure. But Rick Solaris, he was talking to me about solar flares and heart attacks. I think it was like 2000 and fucking. I'll need to look back on my messages, but it probably was a good 8 years ago, 9 years ago. He was talking about that stuff. Susie Cat says, I'm vegetarian actually, but don't waste food. Nah, if you stopped eating cows, man, they just become extinct. We like cows, man. We like running with the cows in the fields. Aye, so Martin Leedke, I think he was quite pally with Ross. If anybody knows Martin Leedke in the chat, you probably do. He was quite friendly with Ross because he was also a fellow historian. Like Martin loves his history as well. Martin loves his very, very, very alternative history, should we call it. How you doing, Barbara? I'm going alright. I was just, like I said, I just rewatched a stream from a guy called Ross Broadstock who has a channel called Britain's Hidden History. And during his stream, his last stream, he had a heart attack and he died afterwards. And his kids were there and his wife was there. And it's just sat with me wrong. See, when you see one of these horrible videos on the internet, when someone shows you a horrible video on the internet and it just sits with you the wrong way and just kind of hangs over you. After watching that stream, it feels like it's sort of hung over my head. And when my missus watched it, she was even worse because she didn't watch the guy, but she could see that he could have been saved. He could have been saved. The 15 minutes were wasted on his stream, man. He could be alive today, Ross. And he was wasted fucking talking about hieroglyphs. So Motor says, exercise, get some kind of exercise and you'll be far less likely to die from heart attacks. But if you jog, you are far more risk of dying from being run over or attacked. I find it crazy when you see these old pensioners jogging down the street. They've got the full fucking jogging gear on, short shorts. Again, got the balls hanging out one side and that old guy jogging down the street. And it's like, here, mate, you're going to cause a heart attack. You're going to give yourself a heart attack. Like, where's the line between being healthy and then, like, just running yourself into the grave? There is a fine line between being healthy and just working those joints too much and working the heart too much. Because it's all got a lifespan. We've kind of like, all your organs and stuff have lifespans. They don't last forever. And sometimes I think you rush on the lifespan. You accelerate it by jogging and look at joints and stuff like that. Can your joints just wear away running around? Why not just walk? This old guy jogging down the street, just walk, mate. It's just the same practically, and it's easier on your joints. Why are you jogging with your balls hanging out your shorts? But it is important to look after yourself and eat properly and get some fresh air and exercise, definitely. No one's perfect. We can't be all perfect, you know what I mean? But just trying your best. Doombot 9000, don't pity them. They all made their choice. Well, I've seen some comments on Ross's, I think it was that video actually, if you look in the comment section, that some people were asking, was he jabbed? Because he is a young guy, you know what I mean? But we didn't know his underlying health issues. He could have had a underlying heart problem for a long time, Ross. And we just found out there. We didn't know what's going on in their personal lives. He could have diabetes. He could have, fuck knows what he could have had. But people just assume the jab. But I do pity them, man. I do pity them. I pity the family. I pity the family because the kids are there. I've got kids the same age as his kids, and that's a terrible thing to go through. I can only pity him. So Kevin Mackey says, I prefer loaded walking too. Load up a backpack with Aye. I give yourself a bit of weight and climb a hill. And you don't have to climb that hill fast. Just climb it nice and steadily and right to the top and back down again. You'll notice the change of pressures in the air. Again, it works your body big time. So Motor says, I know so many people that do exercise at all, never have, and they're getting old and are overweight. I know so many people that do no exercise at all. Probably, man, there's people out there that fucking probably never ate a vegetable in their lives, never done a fucking press up in their life. I can guarantee there are people out there that have never ate a vegetable or done a press up. There's maybe whole families like that just sit there eating fucking fast food every day. Sophie Thomas, hi Sue, how you doing? Nice to see you. Sue liked Ross, and I was just doing a wee video, Sue, about Ross and how he probably could have been saying. My missus, we watched it again. Like I said, I've repeated myself about 4 times here, but me and my missus watched Ross's last broadcast again, and she, being a nurse, could see the signs, and those 15 minutes he wasted could have been crucial to saving him. It's such a fucking sin to watch that happen to him, man. You're practically watching a guy dying on the screen. It's brutal, and that's the thing about YouTube. You never think about these things, guys, when you're in these communities, in these circles of people, and some of the people I noticed in Ross's chat, some of the people that in his chat appear in my chat as well. So we're all kind of tied somehow. It's like the bacon effect. The Kevin Bacon effect. We're all tied in somehow. Okay, we're all linked together some way. Tomato ketchup flavoured crisps, one of your daily 5. What happened is the tomato crisps. Why did that have to turn into tomato ketchup? Remember the days where you just got tomato flavoured crisps? It wasn't tomato ketchup flavour. It was just tomato flavour. Those disappeared and then the tomato ketchup ones came in. Anyone out there remember just tomato crisps? Tomato flavour? There was these other ones as well called Tom Toms. I think they're still kicking around. Tomato Tom Toms. They're little like maize puff balls and they're just like pure tomato, like tangy tomato weird flavour. They were good. Right. Hope you're having a good night. Who's that? James Stephen Emery. Aloha Ross, Facebook friend. Ross isn't here, man. This is a stream dedicated to Ross. And if you don't know James Stephen Emery, Ross has passed, man. He passed in his last stream. He passed away. He died of a heart attack. And like I said, it could have been prevented. There was a campaign in Scotland called Fast. And there was adverts and it was showing you like people at football games like having heart attacks. And it was to see the early signs of a heart attack. And Ross, he died of a heart attack again. Organic kale crisps in the air fryer. Oh my God. Jesus Christ. There'll be no nutrition to organic kale crisps in the air fryer. At least if you deep fry some kale crisps, you'll get some of the fat. Deep fry some kale crisps in lard. Some pig fat. There we go. That'll make them better. No, in the air fryer, man. The air fryer is actually weird. I've been using it for drying my mushrooms, but it's a weird one. It's like a big hair dryer. It's like it hair dries your food. We have Lamington flavoured crisps. Truly, what the hell's Lamington flavour? Is that like a shoe? Kale crisps in lard? Of course. You need some nutrients to it, man. You get everything in that. Again, you get kale, you get your greens, and you get the lard fat. So you get the animal stuff. So it's just like a complete meal. Kale crisps and lard. I remember that's how we used to cook our chips when we were younger. Lard. It was a block of fucking lard. It was like white square. All the old timers in the chat will know what I'm talking about. It was like, God, I miss those chips. Homemade chips, like cooked in lard. The amount of house fires those chip pans caused. The old chip pans and flats, man. I think they were the #1 cause of house fires back in like the 90s. Like deep. They weren't even deep pan fryers because you never had deep chip fryers back then. You never had these machines that cooked your chips. You had a fucking pot full of lard fat and you had like a netting fucking thing for the chips. And the fat would just spit onto the cooker and then you would try and throw water over it and fucking next minute the whole stair is on fire. And it's like people just set their houses on fire everywhere making chips. And then along came the chip fryer, these chip fryers that you get nice and safe. But the old way we used to make chips, man. But the chips were good, cooked in lard. Kale crisps and lard. What country are you guys in? I really feel for his family. I know that's the thing. Like Ross is gone now, and it's his family that have to sort of endure the pain now, and it'll last a while. But with time, like everything, it will fade. Again, they will feel better eventually. But right now, it'll be really raw, and I just feel for them. I really do. I feel for them because he seemed like a really family friendly. He seemed like he loved his kids and his wife, and he had a passion for his history that was almost second to none when you compare it to other people. He couldn't speak Welsh, but he tried his best to pronounce the Welsh names, and he can do much better Welsh than I can do Gaelic. put it that way. The guy was, but he's older than me. He's got a few years on me, so like maybe one day I'll be sitting in my like surrounded by books and doing my own stuff like that. But right now I'm still doing my streams where I'm running about, just being a free soul and just riding with the waves and just seeing what fucking happens. That's the way I roll with my streams. I didn't get too locked on one subject. And good to see you, Okai. I hope you're feeling good, mate. I hope you're feeling good. And you didn't be fucking one of these guys that dies on a fucking stream, mate. Like I said, we already got a fight with Okai. And look what happened, Okai. There's already someone died. Then along came the bugs they want us to eat. Always a frying pan at my mum's house. God bless her soul. Those pink square brick blocks of cake with coconut sprinkle over them, raspberry or chocolate. All right, it's a bit like what they called the raspberry. They're like raspberry squares, but you have to have them with custard motor. You have to have those raspberry cubes, coconut things with custard because they're too dry. What we've got? I think they're called pink jammies or something here. Pink jammies, possibly. Coconut jammies, something like that. But I know what you're talking about, man. But you need it with custard. You need that stuff with custard. The kids done the filming for him and the music. His kids played music through at the beginning of his streams, in the middle of his streams, at the end of his streams. His kids were a big part of his channel, and it's just a fucking shame. I hope his sons continue his work. Hope the wee guy that's playing the violin and playing the keyboard and all that stuff continues his dad's good work. I know his dad looked into Wilson and Blackett. That was the latest authors he was really promoting, was Wilson and Blackett, who done alternative British history. He was quite into the Wilson and Blackett the way I was into the Commons Bowman. And he got right into it. He's still right into it, still promoting them. He was still promoting them right to the end. Lefty Lucy Clotty shot, was it? Nah, I wouldn't say it. Like, I could hear it in his voice. He was quite laboured. Now Battenberg was the half yellow, half red. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. That's in the marzipan sort of outside, like Battenberg cake was like you had half yellow and half pink. You had the marzipan on the outside. It's just like a log, and you cut it in nice squares. You need that with custard as well, dry as fuck. Dry as an Arab sandal. Yeah, that's him. I didn't eat that crap, just bacon and steak. That's Bright in the house. How you doing, Bright? Nice to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing all right, Bright. Keeping off the beer. So Mord sometimes does a stream, guys. If you see him, he's quite random as well. Motor, he punches bags, and if you want some light-hearted comedy, Cleveland Motor's a good channel to watch. This guy here, he flexes a bit, like you can see in his picture, he's flexing his muscles, but he's quite funny. He does rugby stuff, and he punches the punch bag, and he is a character to watch, definitely. Aye, Ross had a great channel, great information on Ross's channel. Like I said, I'll leave a link when this stream's finished. I'll leave a link to his channel, and like I said, I'm going to buy one of his books just as a gesture. Like fucking, that's what else can you do? Yeah, it's like it'll make me feel better. Maybe it's a selfish thing by buying one of his books. It'll just make me feel better about what's happened. Maybe, don't know. So it's been a weird day for people. I haven't wanted to ask that. Well, I think some people are asking that about but that's what happens in the conspiracy circles, guys. You get the jab question. Did he take the jab? I never took the jab, guys, so you don't have to worry about me. I'm still unjabbed. I resisted for the very fucking start, and I even made a point that I didn't care. I'll fucking never leave this country again if that's what it takes. If they're going to try and stop me from leaving the country by, like, I have to take it back. Fuck leaving the country. I'll just stay in the country. There's nowhere I'd rather be than Britain. Anyway, I can just go down England for my holidays. That's what I've been doing the past couple of years, going down south for my holidays. It's beautiful down England. I love England. Beautiful place. And the cities are usually quite clean compared to Edinburgh. They're clean. I mean, Wilson and Blackett, yep. I'm not too sure. I've never looked into the Wilson Blackett stuff. There's just so many authors with so many different theories on this stuff, and none of them can claim to be original, because if you go back, it goes back to, like, was it Filmashenko? Is it Filmashenko? Commons Beaumont? All these guys were doing this shit back then, so no one can claim that they've got the original theories of this. We're all sort of piecing all this stuff together ourselves and coming to different conclusions. How you doing, Wild Creature? Nice to see ya. Epic's still here. It's been quiet since everyone started coming in. Epic's a new chatter. He seems a good fit, Epic. He seems like he fits in the chat quite well. He's not too touchy, and he's not too PC or too social justice-y. Because social justice, guys, it's one of these things that's a tool that's been used as against us right now. If you can't see that, you're just blind. If you can't see that social justice is just a tool, and it's a tool used against the people they're trying to fight for. Social justice is actually a weapon against the people they try and fight for. For example, Black Lives Matter. If we just ignored that stuff, the Black Lives Matter stuff, it would just go away. But instead, they keep pushing and pushing and pushing. Our media promotes it. What happens? Right-wing fucking groups form. Right-wing groups form because of this push with Black Lives Matter, and because the media keep pushing it in our face. And suddenly right-wing groups are popping up, and white supremacists and nationalists and fucking... And do you know what? If these social justice warriors never pushed the Black Lives Matter and never pushed all these fucking things, the right-wingers, when they came at the cracks and fucking getting, like... The social justice actually creates the hate. The way they use it, anyway. The way the media pushes it on people. The media will make you hate that demograph. They'll call you a racist. They'll call you this. If you're no racist, the media will make you think you're racist to the point where they'll just accept you are a racist. It makes people stupid. It's trying to do a jigsaw when you've only got a few pieces and no picture to work off. It's this kind of research that Ross and I and other people have been looking into. It's like a lifetime research. It's never going to be fully understood. History is never going to be fully understood. And we know that they've shat all over it, and it's just hard to put it back together. They've ripped it apart. It goes back to LBJ in the States. I've been oversleeping a lot, Susie. Same with balance issues. It's probably the best way to try and pass the time, I suppose, like without thinking about drinking. Okay. If you're trying to stay off alcohol. For me, what would be the best way to stay off alcohol, I probably think, is sleeping. It's probably just have a few doobies, shut your eyes and try and not think about it, and just hope every day goes by and every day gets a little better. Maybe I don't think there's a way that you could totally cut yourself off from it. It would just kill you, man. You probably have to have a little drink a day. Have you read Michael? Oh, I never read Michael Zarian. I watched Michael Zarian like fucking 10 years ago on YouTube. This Irish guy's talking about the Egyptians being connected to the Irish being connected to the pharaohs, but he got dark. Michael Zarian got really fucking dark and occult. He reminded me of an occultist, like what was the guy's name again? Oh, there was the leader of the satanic movement. He reminded me of him. Oh, what was his fucking name? It's on the tip of my tongue. The satanic guy, the leader of the Anton LaVey. Zarian reminded me Anton LaVey for some reason. I don't know what it was. It just gave that Anton LaVey feeling, the vibe, Zarian, and it put me off him. It did. It fucking, there was something dark about Zarian, like dark and evil. It just never sat right with me, Zarian. Even his name, Zarian. Again, that name, Zarian. It just, there's certain things with certain people that just didn't sit right, and it's almost like a warning sign, and you should really listen to them. Okay, you should listen to these wee signs, little clues to certain people's real nature. An uncle was drunk and he crashed his car and killed a couple of friends. He never drank again, yet he drank for so long. LaVey couldn't have looked more the part. Naturally, I see what you see about Zarian. Same, he got a darkness to him. Good observation. But that was a while ago. Like I said, maybe I need to rewatch Zarian with fresh eyes, and maybe I'll have a different perspective, probably. But because like I said, when I was watching Zarian, I was watching Bill Cooper as well. I used to put a lot of credence into Bill Cooper stuff. And who's the other guy that was like Bill Cooper? Oh, the other guy. It looked like Bill Cooper. It was similar. Oh. And Alan Watt. I used to listen to Alan Watt about 10 years ago. Went through a right phase of listening to Alan Watt every day walking down to work. Listen to an Alan Watt podcast talking about like fucking resurrection and the soul and all this shit, man. Just all this fucking new agey fucking mumbo jumbo. Again, it was nice though, the way he delivered it. Alan Watt, the way his delivery was good though. I've got to say, he spoke very eloquently. And Giants, I've moved to. Last I saw, he was into the Genesis 6 with movement with Nephilim and Giants. Which Alan Watt? Well, was it the original Alan Watt and the proper philosopher Alan Watt? And then I listened to the Canadian one. I listened to the Canadian one as well. Okay, he died a few years ago as well. That dude, Alan Watt, the Canadian one, the Scottish one. He was Scottish, but he lived in Canada. How you doing, Dagon? Nice to see you, man. Hey, it's morning time again. And like I said, I start these streams and I think, oh no, I'm running out of things to say, and then suddenly like half an hour's gone by, then an hour's gone by. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm sitting here talking away. The Scottish Canadian, yep. Or the Englishman. Is that the Welsh guy? Have you just watched Hellraiser Hulu? I'm a nervous wreck. Is that a new one? I don't know, man. Did he just live down the road from me? There was a guy there. You've probably seen him kicking around, P. Mars, but P. Mars will religiously listen to that Scottish Canadian Alan Watt, and he was a bit of I don't know. Alan Watt. A lot of stuff was good. Alan Watt came out with a lot of stuff, but he was really whiny and he was really depressed. If again, he would make you fall asleep. Alan Watt's voice would make you fall asleep. Like 9 out of 10 times when I sat and listened to an Alan Watt podcast, I'd fall asleep. You know what I mean? But hoping when I was sleeping, I was sort of taking some of it in. It's the latest Hellraiser. Oh my god, those Hellraiser movies. The original ones were all right, I suppose, but dark. I watched them as a kid. Like I remember watching the Hellraiser when I was about 12 or 13. And it was a weird movie. Like Hellraiser Hulu is a bit kinky. The original Hellraiser was a bit kinky. Was it all like she was trying to make her lover? She was trying to put her lover back together again. He was like fucking coming back for the fucking demon world or some shit, and he was like, his flesh was all coming back together. And every time she killed somebody, I think he ate them or something, and his fucking flesh would fucking. There was a right sex thing entwined within the original Hellraiser. It was like an S&M. Hellraiser movies was like an S&M horror. And with all the leather, the bondage, the hooks, the fucking kind of kinky, and it was fucking kinky on another level. Pinhead, Pinhead was pretty iconic, I suppose, pretty scary. The chattering teeth. Pet Sematary was the worst for me. I think the scariest movie growing up when I was a kid was The Shining. Believe it or not, The Shining. Those twins in the hallway, the little kid scene, kind of like the axe scene, and the woman getting out of the bath with Jack Nicholson, the old black guy getting hit with the axe in the hallway. Just the music, kind of Stanley Kubrick style, was unbelievable. But The Shining, I shat myself watching The Shining, and I was probably about 12-year-old when I first watched The Shining. The Freddy Krueger films were scary. I watched the Freddy Krueger films before The Shining. They were probably the scariest movies up to the Shining. The Freddy Krueger films were fucking scary when you were a kid. Like, you were scared to go to sleep after watching Freddy Krueger. And the Candyman. The fucking Candyman as well. Oh, the Candyman and Freddy Krueger. They were scary. The zombie films weren't scary. I didn't find the zombies films scary. Kind of like Land of the Living Dead and all these movies. These fucking weren't scary to me. But the Freddy Krueger stuff, and even the Jason and all that stuff wasn't that scary. But the Freddy Krueger stuff, man, that was fucking scary as shit. Nightmare on Elm Street, man, was a fucking... Oh. But they became a bit of a joke as well, the Freddy Krueger films. Right, guys, well, get the F out 28 days later. 28 days later. Oh. I remember originally watching the first 28 days later and seeing those zombies sprinting. That was probably the first time I'd ever watched a movie where the zombies are running intensely after you, like a fucking... Oh, that was pretty scary, I've got to say. But I still reckon The Shining, there's something about The Shining. I think it's the score, the music, the psychological aspect of The Shining, the whole cabin fever feeling in The Shining. There's something, and Jack Nicholson, his performance is just fucking amazing. So I still think The Shining is still one of the scariest movies. I wish I had shrooms, Susie. Liz Truss reminds me of Chucky. She has got one of those plastic faces, one of those wee fucking... she does look like Chucky a wee bit. Child's Play. Child's Play was... I don't know what the big deal about Child's Play was. That wasn't even scary. That was funny. Getting this doll running about with a fucking knife. And same again, I watched that when I was a kid, Child's Play. And it was funny. It wasn't even a scary movie. For modern scary movies, I'd say The Ring. If you've not seen The Ring, even the Japanese one. But The Ring, the movie The Ring, oh, that is freaky, and the music, and I still prefer the English one. I can everyone like the purists. Oh, the purists. Oh, The Ring, the Japanese Ring's the best one. Well, I didn't like reading fucking subtitles all the way through movies, and to be honest, the English version is shit hot, freaky as fuck. The Ring. I remember. I think it was I think maybe it was last Halloween. It was 2 Halloweens or last Halloween. I thought I'd treat my son to watching The Ring at night time. Oh, fucking The Ring. That is a fucking scary movie, that, like. Toy. Nice talking to you all. Look for some okay you may find. The Shine was apparently that place is really haunted. Some weird things happened when filming. I think it went on fire. I think that hotel caught fire in real life. And it was just, I think there was a lot of stress. Stanley Kubrick caused a lot of stress on the actors in that fucking, because of his meticulous need to catch the perfect shot. He would have Jack Nicholson smacking that door with that axe over and over. I think he went through like 20 doors or something to get the perfect scene of him like smashing that door down. But luckily enough, Jack Nicholson used to be like a firefighter or something, so he was used to like swinging axes into doors. So I think he done that no bother. But I think the stress he put on the female actor, what was her name? Duvall. I can't remember her name. Was it Shirley Duvall? Shirley Duvall. She played Jack Nicholson's wife in the movie. And I think Stanley Kubrick put so much fucking just interrogated at every scene, that stress you see in her face in The Shining, that fear you see in her face and distress, she's actually going through that. She's going through that. Kubrick put her through fucking hell, and you could see it on her face, Shirley Duvall. But I've actually studied The Shining as well. Stanley Kubrick deliberately moved all the furniture in each scene, like when they were looking around that, what was it called? The Overlook Hotel. I think it was called the Overlook Hotel. But when they shot the scenes down the corridors and stuff, they would deliberately move furniture around, so it would disorientate you. You wouldn't know where you were in the hallways and stuff. If you look down a certain hallway and seen a chair or a table, you know what way you were going. But he was constantly moving stuff around, and he was a bit of a weirdo that way. Like he was a genius as well. No doubt the guy was a genius when it came to films, making them. No doubt. Shelley Duvall, she was great. I think she was olive oil as well, as like in Popeye. God, she is like the perfect fucking olive oil, eh? Jesus, man, she was like born for that role. Olive oil. And I remember my mum hated these sort of weak-typed women, eh? And I remember my mum, I think that was the only performance she didn't like in The Shining was Shelley Duvall's. But when I look back on that movie and you see how pathetic Shelley Duvall is and how like frail and how vulnerable Shelley Duvall is, she's the perfect part. Imagine being her, Shelley Duvall, stuck with Jack Nicholson with your kid. Like she epitomizes like the victim, and that's perfect for the movie. Like she was a perfect part for that movie. As pathetic and glaikit as she is, and that's what my mum used to say, glaikit. She's so glaikit, and that's a proper Scottish word, guys. Remember that, glaikit. It's just a way to describe somebody looking pathetic, like kind of just standing gormlessly, looking like they don't know what to do, like, and that's looking glaikit. And it almost is. It's like a perfect word in Scotland. Like it almost sounds like the way someone looks, like it's like a perfect word. Can't forget Eyes Wide Shut. Kubrick's last film is based on real stuff. I wonder. That was all the masquerade parties and stuff like that. Some freaky shit. Yep. I don't know how this has suddenly turned into a video talking about Stanley Kubrick, but it's just went that way. Glay kit. Glay kit. So you say glay, then kit. Glay kit. Glay kit. Glay kit. Glay kit. Well, they wanted him to edit it disferent, and he was the only director in Hollywood who had in his contract he gets final cut say. I know. I think it was Stephen King wrote the original novel of The Shining, and he had a lot of objections to Kubrick's version of The Shining when it came out in the movie. But Kubrick had a good reason why he never brought out Stephen King's version of The Shining. Do you know why? Because Stephen King's version of The Shining was fucking weird and perverted and kind of shitty as well. The way actually Kubrick made it better. There is an actual original Shining based on Stephen King's novel, and there's scenes where like the fucking maze. There's not a maze in Stephen King's book. The maze doesn't exist. That maze that Jack Nicholson runs around and freezes and doesn't exist in the Stephen King book. Kubrick added the maze because in Stephen King's book he had like those hedge animals. You got those animals cut from hedges, like fucking Edward Scissorhands cut the fucking elephants and shit. He had like animals fighting and shit like that, like chasing you and all that shit. I was like, what the fuck? So Kubrick made the maze, and I think Stephen King, there was an element of Jack Nicholson, or Jack in the book, molesting his son. So I think there was an emphasis of child abuse in the Stephen King novel. I think it was quite emphasised. Whereas in the Kubrick movie, The Shining, you could see something was happening. There was something happening. Like Jack Nicholson done something to Tommy. Was it Tommy? It was Tommy. And you didn't know what happened. You knew that Jack Nicholson maybe hurt the kids, but they weren't emphasising it. It could have happened. God knows what happened. But Stephen King's a bit of a fucking pervert. Even his It novel with the clown, he had some weird shit going on with the kids in that novel as well. He's a disgusting guy. Again, I think the core of his stories are pretty good. The premise. But when you get into the gritty details of Stephen King, he's a bit of a fucking disgusting cunt. You know what I mean? He is. His overall stories are sort of alright. He's a creepy looking motherfucker as well. Stephen King's got one of those fucking... He's not got a nose. Stephen King does not have a nose. It just goes like fucking... He looks like Michael Jackson or some shit. He's got one of those tiny wee nose. He's like a skeleton. Stephen King looks like a skeleton. Like the skin just fucking... He's a freaky motherfucker, man. The Shining is supposed to be about paedophilia, abuse. Well, that's what Stephen King kind of passed it as. But Kubrick turned it into a psychological cabin fever ghost story kind of thing, which was more palatable for the public, I suppose. I don't think Stephen King's version would have went down well with the fucking general public. Again, let's just make a movie about child abuse or whatever. I think the way Kubrick done The Shining kind of justice, and he did. He probably made it better. Tales from the Crypt are going, hello, boys and girls, ghouls and boils. I remember my mate had the skeleton, the Tales of the Crypt skeleton, the presenter. He used to present the wee movies. And even what was it called as well? What was the other one? We studied in high school as part of a film class with the Kubrick. The Shining. I chose to study part of it anyway. If you look at my channel, guys, I've got little clippets of Shining stuff, I suppose. I've got a nice Let's see. I don't know if I'll be able to show you it. A kinetic motion graphics video, guys. You've probably never, half of you have probably never seen it before, but I'll probably, let's see. Listen to that.
What should be done with him?
But this was a project I done when I was in college. It should be my history now. Oh, Jesus, right. I have to just play it on my screen. Fuck's sake. Come on.
I don't think that's true. I think you have some very definite ideas about what should be done with Danny, and I'd like to know what they are.
Well, I think maybe he should be taken to a doctor.
You think maybe he should be taken to a doctor?
Yes.
When do you think maybe he should be taken to a doctor?
As soon as possible. As soon as possible.
You believe his health might be at stake?
Yes.
You are concerned about him.
Yes.
And are you concerned about me?
Of course I am.
Of course you are. Ever thought about my responsibilities?
Oh, Dick, what are you talking about?
Have you ever had a single moment's thought about my responsibilities? Have you ever thought for a single solitary moment about my responsibilities to my employers?
There you go, guys. That was my shining kinetic typography, it was called. It was when the words come up when they speak and there's a kind of sense of the character behind the word. But I done that in college. It's not got that many views, actually. How many views has that got? Oh, wait there, it's got 210 views. It's got more views than I thought it had anyway. Let's see who's commented. Holy shit. Jed, you should watch with me movie streams, even corny ones. I'm probably a good movie critic, to be honest with you. I know how to write a good story anyway. I know like character, like curves and shit like that, a premise and acts and stuff like that. Like I've done stuff in college, so I know how to structure a story usually. And it's basic, guys. Like it's basic stuff, like beginning, middle, end. You can start there. Yes, EH is brilliant. Scary space. But just that wee clip there for that movie. That would be nothing. If you read that in the book, it wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't have been like that. If you read just that interaction between Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall, if you read that in Stephen King's book, it wouldn't have came across as intense as you just seen there or heard there. The way Kubrick uses his score, that violin-y, that screechy fucking and the fucking, and the way Jack Nicholson is, his assertiveness and his toxic masculinity, just being pure. Aye. That's good company. But as much as I love your good company, guys, and like I said, I'm going to leave a link to Ross's channel, Britain's Hidden History, in the chat. I just wanted to make a wee video just to say I appreciated his channel, and it's just a shame if people noticed earlier, maybe Ross could have been saved. He maybe could have, because he spent 15 minutes fucking about on YouTube, his stream, and he could have been maybe on a car on his way to hospital, or taking aspirin or something. Just something could have just given him a bit more time. But it turned into a Stanley Kubrick stream as well, I suppose. So anyway, guys, thanks for staying up with me. I've got work in the morning. But I'll give you all a shout out before I go. Cheers, Epic. Event Horizon. Aye, Event Horizon. I've seen that. I have seen that. That is scary stuff. Who's the British actor in that again? The British actor. Oh, what's his name again? But it's probably his best part he's ever played, that British actor in Event Horizon. Aye, but that is a scary arse film. That is a scary one. But it's more of a spacey one as well. It's more like a... Thanks, Gerard. It's one R. It's no double R. That's the wrong Gerard. It's Gerard. Sam Neill. That's the one. Sam Neill. Oh, Sam Neill was epic in that. He was so evil, and he was pretty epic in that fucking machine spinning round. See in it? Do you know in that Event Horizon, that thing, that machine that's spinning around, can that cog? It's like those fucking cogs spinning around. Do you know that was actually real? They built that. That wasn't any like special effects or computer graphics or anything like that. That big fucking thing, that those cog things that were spinning around and shit, man. That was a real model, and it was massive. It was huge. They built that shit in the Event Horizon. Well, Creature just says they've just worked out what I'm talking about. R.I.P. R.I.P. man. Like I said, I'll maybe continue some of Ross's work in my future videos. Maybe I'll go back on some of Ross's videos, because like I said, me and Ross, we've got the same interests. So maybe I'll look more into the Welsh stuff. In dedication to Ross, I'll commit myself to more looking into the Welsh, because I am a bit biased when it comes to my history, because like I said, I walk outside and I see things, so it just leads me down the Scottish route all the time, because it's all round me. It's hard not to go down that route when it's everywhere. And I visit all these places in Scotland, so it's hard not to research the places I visit, and then I just get stuck researching Scottish stuff and Irish stuff, English stuff. I didn't really look at the Welsh too much, but like I said, I'll look more into Ross's work, and I'll look into his Wilson and Blackett stuff, or whatever it's called. Is it Wilson and Blackett? See what they've been writing about, because I've never looked into their book. My dad's side of family is Welsh. Aye, the Welsh didn't really get a shout, so I'll maybe give them a bit more exposure, and have a look into Ross's channel, and give a wee bit of exposure, and try and get more people buying his books. At least try and support his family with buying him a book. Man, I'm going to buy a book. Like I said, I'm not telling you guys to buy a book, but just as a gesture for Ross, I'm going to look and see if I can buy a book, if his family can still send them out. Anyway, guys, have a good night, day, wherever you are, and the rest of your week. I'll see you in the next stream. Cheers.